Hello, this is the Monotone Centrist here with another video. Today's video is going to be about the Confederate flag. This has been kind of a hot button issue for a while, and Grand Theft Auto just its new, I guess, release or his HD release announced it's going to take all the Confederate flags out of the game. They said they were going to change some things, and they did it with Grand Theft Auto 5. It is considered a hate symbol. I don't think it's a hate symbol, much like the Nazi flag is a hate symbol. Just because people use it for hateful things doesn't make it hateful itself. I understand its background. I think everyone at least should know its its meaning and what's behind the meaning. I don't think it's a white supremacist symbol. I don't think it's a hate symbol. I can understand why people think that. Don't get me wrong. This is my personal opinion. I'm not going to have any facts. These are just opinions and my own feelings. I know that's a huge hot topic a lot of times, but I don't mind it not being in the video game. Honestly, it's a small thing that's changing. It's not impactful to the game at all, so it's not that big of a deal. But to take it out for it's a hate symbol is stupid as shit. I just don't see where that's coming from if that's the case. Um, I know times are kind of changing and a lot of things are offensive that were never offensive. Um, and the Confederate flags is one of these. Yeah, excuse me. I can't remember the organization or the group that considers a hate symbol. It's the same group that thinks the OK sign is a hate symbol as well. So take that with a grain of salt, I think. If you understand the background and the history of it, it's much compared to Hitler and the Nazi flag in Germany. You won't see any, Hitler statues like we have, Confederate statues or, Nazi flags all over the fucking place. It's just something they're so ashamed of that you can go see them. Don't get me wrong. It's not like that you just can't. They just abolish these things whatsoever. And there's no symbols of this whatsoever. You have to go to a museum to see these certain items, but they strict it from public use, and you can actually go to jail and face fines and stuff like that. I don't think we should do that here because we have freedom of speech, thank God. That's one thing I definitely would advocate for 100%, and you should be able to fly the Nazi flag if you want to. It's not going to be a popular idea. I don't agree with it, but I definitely back your freedom to do so. You're probably going to get a lot of shit. You're probably going to think you're a racist, the white supremacist, a bunch of things. I personally would never fly any of these flags because I know like what's people's other perceptions of people is for. Like taking this out of Grand Theft Auto though seems really weird because you can just do mass shootings, which is a big no-no. You can murder cops, you can murder hookers, you can have sex with hookers, just run people over, rob stores, rob banks, and like somehow like the Confederate flag is too much. Like really, like that's one thing I really don't get about them taking it out of there. But other than that, it doesn't really bother me. Like if you really think about all the shit that you can do in that game, I think seeing the Confederate flag is the least of your damn problems. So honestly, I don't think it's racist. I don't think it's a sign of hate. I don't think you're a white supremacist if you have one of these or fly one or whatever you want to fucking do with it. It doesn't bother me. Now, if it bothers you, I'm sorry, but that I 100% back the freedom of speech. Just because I don't think it's racist or just because I believe it's not a hate symbol, other people are going to believe so. There's no amount of reasoning or I guess, talking that's going to change people's mind of what it represents. A lot of people don't see it as that. I don't get where the heritage comes from with that, especially if in the North, like 100, couple 100,000 people died uh, freeing the slaves, and that's a lot of what that flag represents is the slavery of black people. Like, I understand why people think it's hateful and they don't, and it's racist and all that stuff. I 100% understand where they're coming from. I don't believe we should ban it or from people flying it or displaying it. That's not going to solve things. Like, banning things never works. Um, Making it illegal never works. These things normally when you ban something or make it illegal, it just doesn't stop or curtail that certain activity. Like, people still murder. I know that's not an equal uh, comparison, but a lot of states do have death penalties and life in prison, but people still murder each other. So that's extremely illegal, and you'll go to prison for a very long time and may die in prison because of it. But it doesn't stop people. That's the same with any laws or trying to ban stuff. So that's equally same with for the Confederate flag and calling it a hate symbol and calling people white supremacists and stuff like that. It's not going to solve anything, and it's not going to make people not fly it. I mean, if you see somebody fly it or representing it, you call them a racist and a white supremacist. They're not going to stop flying it just because you point that out, even if they are that. Uh, those things, you're not going to change that person's mind by doing that. That's the damn sure. They're just going to. That's probably more so going to encourage that kind of behavior. But overall, I think you should be allowed to fly it, and laws shouldn't be uh, put in force where you're not allowed to do so, because that would go against our First Amendment rights of freedom of speech. I guess it's a little bit different in Germany. I know they don't. I don't think they have the same rights as we do, in the sense of freedom of speech. Obviously, if you're going to go to jail or get in trouble for flying a Nazi flag, it's a little bit understandable why you shouldn't do that. I don't think it should be illegal. This, if it prevents certain things from being destroyed, then go ahead and move these monuments because that's what's going to happen. They're going to get vandalized or probably destroyed. And don't think these other statues of, like, for example, George Floyd or Breonna Taylor. I probably fucked that name up. I apologize. Those statues are going to get violated and defaced too. Like, it works both ways. I am 100% against both of these actions. I think both are equally as illegal. I mean, not illegal. Both are equally illegal and you should get the same punishment for. I don't know if the punishment is or amount of jail time that comes forth of that, but no matter what statue you're defacing, whether it's just George Floyd statue or a Confederate statue, they should be the same. Hopefully, this doesn't go into too far because there's a bunch of Confederate soldiers buried in Arlington Cemetery. Are they going to move those bodies? I hope to God it never comes to that, because there are Confederate soldiers buried there. So they already moved this one guy's grave. I can't remember who his name was, but they actually moved his grave because people are offended. I don't agree with that. That's really fucking weird to move a whole person's graveyard because so, a few people are upset. I mean, if they're going to destroy the statue, move the statue, but just leave the gravesite there. Just use a plaque or something. You could just remove the statue. I know that would probably get defaced and destroyed too, but so I'm gonna wrap it up here because I really have nothing else to say about the whole thing. Um, I'm against people thinking it's racist and a white supremacist symbol. Even though I understand it, doesn't mean I have to agree or um, say, you know, hey, you're wrong. I think both can be equally right in their stances. So, and opinions. Everyone's 100% to their own opinions. I get the similarities to the Nazi flag. I don't believe it should be outlawed because laws is not going to any kind of law is not going to really curtail it. And it definitely would go against our First Amendment rights, which I 100% uh, back up, no matter whose side it's on. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for listening. Rate, comment, subscribe.